Previously, Mr. Edwards has been paying $2,300 a month, correct?
Yes, sir.
So the proposed reduction, do you think you'll be able to maintain the children's needs with that amount?
Their basic needs, possibly. It would be a very big burden on myself. I'm a school teacher and I make very much less per year than he is capable of. I feel like doing this to them after their entire lives, having a lifestyle that met the lifestyle we had when we were married, would be detrimental to them and their future.
The content that I have for you guys here today is so damn crazy, but required that we go over it. I think content like this, every young man under the age of 18, any man graduating from high school, any man that is considering long-term relationship, having a child, or getting married to a woman needs to study content like this. Oftentimes on this channel, I talk about the unfair treatment that men get within the family law, the family court system. And this video right here is a direct example of that unfair treatment. But quick synopsis, the dad in this story retires and he files for a reduction in his child support obligation. Makes sense, right? Make less money, lower child support. Oh, but no, because the greedy mother wants to still use the child support to maintain her current lifestyle. Now, mind you, after the divorce, the mother moved like 800 miles away, thus decreasing his ability to visit his children or be a participator within their lives. It's crazy to me to think that child support gives women access to men's bank accounts, but it doesn't guarantee these same men access to their children. That's enough setup. Let's get right down into the content, but keep your ears open for the treatment that he's receiving, not just from the ex-wife, which is to be expected, but from the judge and her lawyer as well. Without further ado,
The state filed a motion to adjust the child support Mr. Edwards is paying to Ms. Langley.
That's correct, Your Honor. At this time, the state will call Mr. Edwards. At the time when the previous order was done, were you previously ordered to pay $2,300 a month in child support?
Yes, sir.
And is that for your two children that's before the court today?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, what kind of work were you doing when you were ordered to pay that the $2,300 a month?
I was a U.S. Border Patrol agent with Customs and Border Protection.
And have there been any changes in your job since the time of that previous order?
Yes, sir. I retired at the end of December.
And what are you making now that you are retired?
My monthly income will be, $4,459.
Is that before taxes or after taxes?
After taxes, sir.
What is your income before taxes are taken out? What's your monthly gross income?
So gross prior to insurance and everything, or just taxes?
Yes, sir. Just prior to insurance and prior to taxes.
It is $5,976.
Do you have any other minor biological children who are below the age of 18?
I do not.
Do you have health insurance available to you that is affordable?
I do.
And what would the cost be to put your children on your health insurance? And is this health insurance through your employer?
It is, yes, sir. And the cost, my total premium is $664 per month. The cost, and that covers 4 people. The cost for the children would be half of that, which is $332 per month.
$332 for health. And do you also have dental insurance?
I do, sir.
And what is the monthly cost for dental insurance for your children?
Total of $184, so half would be, I believe, $92 per month.
Are you asking the court today to modify your child support to be based on the guidelines, based on your current income that you get from your retirement?
So this man has retired from being a Border Patrol agent. He now receives $4,300 a month, and his ex-wife is expecting him to give more than half of that, continue to give more than half of that, even though he has reduced income. But you can see right here in the state of Texas, if any of the incomes have changed of the parties, or if the parent is deployed or has retired, then a new consideration for child support amount should be decided.
That is correct, sir.
And do you have any other sources of income besides your current retirement income of $5,976 a month?
I do not at this time.
I have no further questions. I pass the witness.
Your witness, Mr. Erlai.
Thank you, Your Honor. So your retirement was effective, was it December 31st?
December 30th.
December 30th. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And how long had you been with, I guess, the Border Patrol prior to retirement?
20 years and approximately 6 months.
Okay. So that's considered a voluntary retirement?
It is, sir. Yes.
Did the eligibility for retirement kick in at 20 years?
Yes.
It did. 50, once I reached 50 years old and 20 years of service.
Okay. So are you currently 50 years old?
I am, sir.
Okay. Now you have two children that you pay support for, correct?
Correct.
Is it true currently you pay $2,300 a month?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. And is it true the amount that that was calculated and was put into the Attorney General's paperwork was about $1,100?
Yes, I believe it was 1104 something, but near 1100. Yes, sir.
Okay. So would you agree with me that's a little bit more than a 50% reduction?
It is a reduction. Yes, sir.
So prior to retirement was your only source of income through your employment with the Border Patrol?
Yes, it is. Yes, it was.
Okay. And that's your testimony now, is that you have no other sources of income?
That is correct.
Are you looking at taking a post-retirement job or anything like that?
I'm unsure at this point. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I don't know what's available or what might come available. So at this time, I am not actively in search of a job.
I forgot to go over who's actually the players here. You can't see his name over here, but this is actually the judge. Goes by the name of Judge Webster. This guy to the right is the Assistant Attorney General. And then obviously this is his ex-wife, and that's his ex-wife's lawyer. Peculiar that she has a lawyer while he doesn't. Him choosing not to have a lawyer was intentional. Was it a good decision? We're gonna find out here in a quick moment. But also notice how the slime ball of a lawyer keeps on asking all of these questions regarding his income. More specifically, his future predictions for his income. Basing current child support based off of a future prediction is nasty work.
So, and I'll come back to that, I guess, line of question in a minute, but let me ask you this. Do you have any interest income from any sources?
No.
Do you receive any dividend income?
No.
Do you receive any royalty income?
No.
Do you receive any kind of rental income?
No.
Okay. Did you get any kind of lump sum payment upon retirement?
Yes.
And what was that?
For unused annual leave.
Okay. And how much was that payment?
Do I have to answer that question, sir?
Yes, you do.
Okay. It was approximately $25,000.
Do you receive any other retirement benefits?
No.
Okay. Do you have any other retirement accounts?
I have a 401k.
Do you draw from the 401k?
I do not.
Do you have any other pension?
I do not.
Do you have any kind of thrift savings plan?
That's my 401k is a thrift savings plan. I don't have a separate 401k.
Okay. You provided a document to the Attorney General previously, correct? That talked about your retirement income?
Correct.
Okay. And that's the document you were taking your numbers from when you testified, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you sent that document to me today. Is that correct?
I did. Yes, sir.
Okay. And they calculate your retirement. It's a formula, but it takes your average, your highest 3 years, correct?
Correct. Highest 3 consecutive years.
Okay. And that was, am I correct in saying that was $172,277?
That is correct.
So how old are your daughters?
They are 17 and 14.
Okay. Now let's talk about Kieran, the oldest child. Is she in a dual high school college program?
She is.
Okay. So she's not graduated from high school yet, but she's actually physically attending college.
That is correct.
Okay. And that's through Lamar University, correct?
Correct.
Do you
The
know
Texas
the name
Academy. Texas Academy at Lamar University.
Okay. Do you know what the costs associated with that are?
I do not know exactly what the costs associated are. but I know that she's paid up through the end of the semester, so she should have no more costs associated with that I know of associated with graduation.
Now, when you say paid up, are we talking about the tuition, or what does that entail?
To just from what I've spoken with her, it appears that they pay. It's works similar to like a college. It's tuition, lodging, food, all of that is similar to like a college program. I'm sure there are some costs associated with graduation, but I'm unfamiliar with those. I don't get a lot of contact with Karen, unfortunately.
Okay. What about Cameron, the 14-year-old? She's a freshman in high school, correct?
Correct.
Are there any expenses, additional expenses, kind of outside the normal, typical cost of I guess, past the necessities of raising a teenager that you're aware of?
I guess it depends on the type of teenager. I know she's very active in club volleyball.
Okay.
Other than that, she's active in band at school, but she's active in school activities. I know that the thing she does the most outside of that is volleyball.
Okay. But are you aware of the cost associated with the club volleyball?
I am not.
Reducing the amount of child support you pay, I guess does it make logical sense that more costs are going to be passed on to Tara?
It makes logical cost that, yes, both I and Tara will have to make adjustments with the decrease in my salary, yes.
Do you receive any kind of other fringe benefits? Does anybody pay for provide you with a vehicle or anything of that sort?
No, sir.
Any housing paid for or anything like that?
No, sir.
So at this point in time, you say you're not actively looking, but you could go back to work.
It's a possibility, and if that happens, then I'll abide by the court rules, and I will let the state of Texas know that I'm earning more money.
Okay. Now, you just purchased, is it true you purchased a new home last year?
No. I purchased a new home when I moved to West Virginia 3.5 years ago.
Okay. Is that near the Potomac River?
It is.
And you own a riverfront lot there on the Potomac River?
It came with the home, yes. It's part of the housing development.
And you've got some, some toys, boats, and you have 4 vehicles, is that correct?
It is correct. And I see what you're getting at, and I would like to respond to that.
Well, just right now, just answer the question that Mr. Elrod asked you. I'll give you an opportunity at some point in time, Mr. Edwards, to respond. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Mr. Elrod.
Are you going to be able to maintain those obligations on your income of about $71,000 before taxes?
Yes, sir. I expect to be able to do that.
Okay. But you understand you've decreased the resources available to your children as well by retiring early.
I do realize that.
Yeah.
And that may have an effect on their needs and so forth.
I realize that a decrease in salary affects everyone involved. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good answer.
I will pass the witness at this time.
You're a witness, Mr. Miller.
Before they get into the witness, and I might have taken some of this out, but what they're trying to establish is that how dare you retire at 50 years old after only 20 years of working? Don't you understand that this is going to impact your family, your daughters? Meanwhile, you got this semi-new lake house up in Virginia on the Potomac. You got this lot. You got these 4 cars that are in it, as if to demonstrate that what he's accumulated or his material possessions make him to be a greedy, miserly old man. Meanwhile, never questioning the $2,300 that he has been paying. But they're going to start asking the ex-wife some questions here. Now, pay attention to what she describes as our needs for the children.
I have no further questions for Mr. Edwards at this time.
Call your next witness.
At this time, the state will call Miss Langley. Miss Langley, you heard Mr. Edwards testify that he currently has your children covered on health and dental insurance that he gets through his employer. Do you agree that your children are covered
and they're
by
covered
the
on
health and dental plans that Mr. Edwards gets from his employer?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And do you agree with the rates that he provided to the court for the cost of the monthly costs for health insurance and the monthly costs for dental insurance?
Yes, I agree.
Do you oppose reducing Mr. Edwards's monthly child support obligation?
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions. I pass the witness.
Your witness, Mr. Elrod.
Thank you, Your Honor. Previously, Mr. Edwards has been paying $2,300 a month, correct?
Yes, sir.
So the proposed reduction to $1,100 and maybe a couple dollars, do you think you'll be able to maintain the children's needs with that amount?
Their basic needs, possibly. It would be a very big burden on myself. I'm a school teacher and I make very much less per year than he is capable of.
I guess so. Let's talk about your resources. What's your job?
Mr. Elrod, I'm trying to think of what the relevancy of Mrs. Langley's income is in regards to how much child support Mr. Edwards is supposed to pay.
Your Honor, as far as just her under the additional factors that the court can consider, the respective positions of the parties to contribute to the needs of the children.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I could,
No, you can, Mr. Edwards.
I can't.
No, you can't. Do you have an objection, Mr. Edwards?
Yes, sir.
What's your objection?
Her job has not changed. She's been a school teacher. He is now retired. Her income has nothing to do with this equation. But see how the weasel got up in there and tugged at the heartstrings of the judge? It's a great reason to have a lawyer, which he did not come prepared with. Let's listen to his objection.
My objection would be if her information is included, shouldn't her spouse's information be included as well?
Your objection is overruled, Mr. Edwards. Go ahead,
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Elrod.
And I'll make this brief, Your Honor. So you work for the school system.
Yes, sir.
What's your approximate bring home income?
Bring home $4,300 a month.
As far as the needs of the children, we already established. Do you agree with Mr. Edwards' testimony that Kieran is in a joint high school college program?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So she's not physically living at home.
She comes home on the weekends.
Okay. Now, does she have any kind of scholarship or anything like that for this program?
The way the Texas Academy works is the TEA pays for their tuition. We are responsible for room, board, books, fees. So we pay roughly $10,000 a year, $5,000 a semester for her to go to this school.
Okay. So to finish out this semester, what's the cost of that?
We're on a payment plan and the total amount is left to pay is $2,300 and it's due by April 12th.
How often have you made some other payments recently?
Yes, sir. We paid a first payment. I don't remember exactly what. It wasn't as much because the scholarship kicks in first and then we do the other payment. So I think the first payment was a few hundred, $400 or $500, and then this one. But it comes out like last semester we paid $5,000, and then it's a 2-year program. So we did this last year as well. It was $10,000 last year.
But she'll graduate in May. She'll turn 18 and emancipate anyway, correct?
Right. Exactly.
Okay. But I guess in the meantime, are there still some other expenses with her being out of home? Does that require her to have a vehicle and
Yes, sir.
so forth?
We have a vehicle and insurance on her so she can drive back and forth every week.
Okay. Now your younger daughter, Cameron, 14 and a freshman in high school, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mr. Edwards said she's very active in club volleyball.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there expenses with that?
There are very, very much so.
Okay. Can you detail those expenses for me?
Okay, her dues for volleyball are $1,800 for the fall season and $700 for the summer beach season. And then we travel to 9 tournaments, mostly in Houston, that are just one day, but there are 2 overnight out-of-state tournaments.
Okay. Mr. Edwards, is he exercising much visitation with the children?
No, sir. He has not seen the oldest daughter since July of 2021. And he saw the youngest one over the summer briefly, but he doesn't come here. He's only been here once in the last 12 years.
Okay.
Objection. I don't see what the relevance is for the questions about visitation.
Do you have a question, Mr. Elrod?
Of course, they're listed in Chapter 154.123 as additional factors the court can consider.
Your objection's overruled, Mr.
In that he doesn't exercise much visitation, does that mean the kids are with you the vast majority of the time?
99%.
Much more so than somebody who exercises, say, a standard possession schedule.
Right.
So you don't have a period of time, whether it's every other weekend or on spring break or holidays or the summer, where you're not having to pay for the kids' basic care or whatever while they're in your possession.
Right.
So ultimately that leaves more day-to-day expense for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you believe at this point in time Mr. Edwards is underemployed given in respect to his duties to his children?
Absolutely. Since December,
Okay.
January.
Are you expecting him to stay unemployed?
I fully feel like he will find another job. He's only 50 years old and able-bodied.
Okay.
So I think government contractor jobs or consulting jobs or whatever are usually what happens after retirement from a federal agency.
It's such a crazy question to ask about this being underemployed, because you could use that logic for her. Ma'am, you're just a school teacher, but you have your daughters set up for, and son set up for all of these different activities. Are you underemployed, right? Like, should you be working more? But instead, the thought is that now, because he's put in his 20 years and now he wants to retire, now he is underemployed. So he should still be fitting the bill because it was working for the lifestyle that I had set up for the children previously.
Is there any other reason that you're aware of why the court should deviate from the guideline child support amount?
I feel like doing this to them after their entire lives, having a lifestyle that met the lifestyle we had when we were married, would be detrimental to them and their future.
And they have some additional expenses that may not occur for every child. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But it's stuff they've been engaged in.
Right. And
Okay.
stuff, if we were still married with our salaries, they would probably have these same opportunities.
Okay. When the kids, is he responsible for 50% of the uninsured medical expense?
On paper, yes, sir.
Does he typically?
Mr. Elrod, you don't have any pleadings on file for that.
Okay.
So let's not get into stuff we don't have pleadings on file for.
Yes, Your Honor. I will pass the witness.
Your witness, Mr. McNulty.
No further questions from the state.
Mr. McNulty, do you have any additional witnesses not sworn?
I have no
Can
other
I
witnesses, Your Honor.
Well, stop, Mr. Edwards. There's a process to trial.
I'm
You're
sorry, sir.
unrepresented, but I'm still treating you like a lawyer. That means you have to act like a lawyer. You wait for your turn. I'll give you your turn, okay? The state gets to go first, and then Mr. Elrod gets to go second, and then you get to go third. All right?
I'm sorry.
Mr. McNulty, do you have any other witnesses?
The man wasn't trying to be disrespectful. You know the man doesn't have a lawyer, but you're beginning to see some of the bias that the judge may have. But again, another reason why I think it would have been smarter to come in here with your own representation.
No other witnesses, Your Honor. The state rests.
All right. Mr. Elrod, your turn. Do you have any additional witnesses that you wish to call?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
All right. Now, Mr. Edwards, see, I'm an old school judge, Mr. Edwards, and I believe in using the rules of civil procedure the way they were intended.
I understand, sir, and I apologize.
Do you have any additional, Mr. Edwards, any information you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
I would just like to, am I allowed to ask Miss Langley any questions? And
You may. You may.
Thank you, sir. Would Miss Langley, let's speaking to the
His wife,
visitation.
ex-wife.
When we were initially divorced, how far apart did we live?
We lived 200 miles.
Okay, so weekend visitation, et cetera, was possible.
Pay
Yes,
attention.
sir.
And did that happen when we initially were divorced?
For the first year,
Okay, and what changed that visitation schedule?
I moved
Okay, and how far away from me did you move at that time?
like 800 miles.
Mm.
I'm sorry, it cut out. I couldn't hear the response.
800 miles.
800 miles. So at that point, was visitation more difficult?
It was, but we still did it. We flew back and forth on a plane until Cameron turned old enough to fly by herself.
Okay,
I've
and
always, and okay, go ahead. Sorry.
how often per year did that happen?
We probably flew the kids back and forth 3 or 4 times, and I drove to West Texas and to New Mexico to where you live to bring them to you multiple times a year.
So you would say that it definitely decreased based on the distance.
Yeah, it's way more expensive to
Yes.
do that.
Okay.
But not the way it is now.
Has Kieran been given the option to visit me in the last 2 years that you said I have not seen her?
Judge, I'm going to object to the relevance, the
Oh,
point
no,
of,
you brought this up, Mr. Elrod. He gets to ask questions to defend
Okay.
himself.
I have no idea because you do not communicate with me. You only communicate with my daughter. So I don't know if you've given her the option or not.
Good
I
answer.
know I've bought one plane ticket 2 times since July 21. You've seen Cameron 2 more times, and I bought 2 plane tickets.
So you and I have not communicated that I would not force her to come visit me, that I would ask her, but I would not force her to come visit me. We have not communicated that.
You did communicate that you were not going to force her, but I have no idea if you did or not. I just know your
How
wife
many-
wanted to buy one plane ticket.
How many family cars do y'all have?
We have 3.
Okay.
One for each of us.
What is the newest vehicle in your family?
Mr. Edwards, I don't need to hear what y'all's expenses are.
Okay.
Child support in Texas is real simple.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Those were
I
good
don't have any.
questions. Those were good questions, Mr. Edwards.
Thank you, sir. I
Especially about the
appreciate
visitation. Those were good questions.
I appreciate your time, sir. I don't have
No.
anything.
Mr. Edwards, now I want to ask you, you're unrepresented. I need to know, do you have any information that you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
Just this, sir. I've always paid my obligations. I served 20 years to defend my country. I'm not trying to shortchange my children, but right now I just got paid my first payment. It was $2,400.
Right. Because
So I have $100 to live on, sir.
Right.
So I can't afford.
Well, no,
what?
Mr. Edwards, let's be honest about something. You don't have $100 to live on. You got 25,000 to live on, because that's what you pulled out at the end of your stuff. That's additional income.
I want to tell you though that I didn't pull it. That was just
you got paid that.
correct to live on 8 months before they start paying me fully, sir.
I don't know what you did with the money, Mr. Edwards, but that's income, and it should have been factored in when this was done, and it wasn't.
But it's not income. It's only one. I mean, it's a one lump sum. It will never show up again.
Mr. Edwards,
Yes, sir.
see, I'm in the business of history, not in the business of future prediction. All of the information that Mr. Elrod was able to glean and give to me, all of the information that you were able to glean and give to me is all great information. The problem is I can't guess what your income is going to be in the future. While I understand what Miss Langley says, that you are capable of going out and getting a job, and you could do that. I can't force you to do that. You had a right to retire under the terms and conditions of the federal retirement system, and you did that. That is your right. And so that was a huge decrease in your income. But you got $25,000 additional dollars when you retired. And that was not factored in, and I'm going to factor it in because it's income. At some point in time, you're going to have to declare it, and you're going to have to pay taxes on it. Okay? Because that's how it works.
Okay. Can I ask one question? I understand your point, sir. Can I ask one question?
Sure.
So when next year, when that income is no longer part of my income, do I do this process again?
You can. If it's going to reduce your child support by more than 20% or $100, you can. You can ask for another modification. And of course, Mr. Elrod and his client are going to be able to take and see, hey, did Mr. Edwards go out and get a job, or is he just still sitting at home and still just making his $6,000 a month? You know, that's their right too, right?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Child support's going to be adjusted to $1,500 a month effective March the 1st. Father's going to be ordered to carry the health insurance in the middle.
Okay. So he's going to have to pay the $1,500, which is much better than the $2,300 that he was scheduled to pay anyway, but not the $1,100 that he originally wanted. Having to file or going through this process again to modify his child support, and not to mention the $2,300 that he was paying previously, and it sounded like he was paying that for at least 12 years, is an insane amount. She's gotten so much in child support that he was never in arrears for, he's always been up to date with, and she's been able to keep up with this lifestyle. She's got 3 cars. Do you think that those 3 cars come as of her teacher's salary? The judge in this case is absolutely a jerk. The mom is a greedy gold-digging witch, and I think that the father made an incorrect decision by coming in here without a lawyer. And speaking of the judge being a jerk, so you're telling me he's supposed to live on 8 months with that $25,000 and continue to pay child support, and then he's going to have to refile after those 8 months to his new income? I think that this man absolutely needs to appeal this ruling, but this time he needs to do it with representation. It is absolutely ridiculous to me to watch how a man is being treated that has served his country, remained on the right side of the law, always kept up with his child support payments, still be treated like this is absolutely insane. To not think through how she was detailing how $2,300 a month is not even enough for basic and extras. What? What are you doing? What are you spending it on? I mean, could the daughters not get jobs to pay for their damn summer sports as well? The amount of privilege here afforded on this man's back who's trying to just retire is sad. Questions, comments, concerns. Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Hopefully you guys learned something within this situation. I hope that you guys do not find yourself in a situation like this in the future. And if you do, it would behoove you to get representation. Last but damn sure not least, if you guys are interested in a self-development community, I'm recruiting for my ranks, the MT Army. There's a link to it down in the description box down below. We focus on becoming bigger, better, faster, stronger up there. If you're interested in it, go click on that link, beam up, and I'll see you soon. Until next time, YouTube, peace.